Hey there. Welcome to The Archivist. This is our very first video, and I'm really glad you're here. Today I'm sharing my personal top 3 terrifying Reddit stories from the last few weeks. If you love creepy tales, strange mysteries, and that quiet chill that sneaks up on you, then make sure to subscribe and let's explore the dark side of the internet together.
Originally posted on Reddit r/nosleep. The post reads as follows, though in a few moments parts of the stories have been slightly shortened just to keep things flowing and smooth for you guys. Huge thanks to the amazing authors for their stories. gamalfrank, It's 8-Bit Sam, and BlairDaniels. Alright now, make sure you're comfy, grab a snack, grab a drink, and without further ado, let's dive into some horrifying Reddit threads.
I'm a truck driver. An old man on the radio once gave me 3 rules: how to deal with whatever runs beside your rig at night. I've been hauling for years. Not one of those guys who name their trucks or paint flames on the sides. Just a man with a CDL license and a pile of debt. I haul cheap furniture from one lifeless warehouse to another. My life is miles of empty highways, bad diner coffee, and the endless hum of diesel. I've seen the whole country through a windshield smeared with bugs. I thought I'd seen everything. I was wrong. It happened last night, out on the dead stretch of I-80 that cuts across the salt flats. That place looks like the surface of the moon. Flat, white, endless. 3 in the morning. The road a black ribbon fading into nowhere. Only my headlights and the stars above. I'd been driving 10 hours straight, pushing to deliver the load to Salt Lake. Eyes burning, brain buzzing with caffeine and exhaustion. Then I saw movement. Something on the shoulder, just at the edge of the light. A flicker. Maybe a coyote, I thought, or a deer too far from water. I kept my eyes on the road but felt my gut tighten. A minute later, there it was again. Tall. Fast. Moving smoothly, almost gliding along the ground. And it was keeping pace with my truck. I was doing 60. My blood went cold. I eased off the gas, dropped to 55, and then I realized it slowed down too. Long, thin legs, moving effortlessly. My heart hammered in my chest. I pressed the pedal again. 75, 80. It sped up, keeping perfect pace with my cab. Silent, stretched, like a shadow. No details. Just the outline of something human, but too tall, too thin, arms too long. It moved like it wasn't touching the ground at all. It went on for miles, just the roar of the engine and that silent runner in the dark. My mind tried to reason it out. A reflection, a trick of the light, a hallucination, but it felt too real. My hands were slick with sweat. I reached for the CB radio. Usually it's nothing but static, but sometimes, in the dead of night, you catch another lonely driver's voice. I pressed the button. My voice shook. Breaker 19? Anyone got ears on eastbound I-80, about 100 miles from the lake? Something's running beside me. For a long time, nothing, just static. Then a voice crackled through. Old, rough, gravelly from too many cigarettes. I hear you, driver. Where exactly are you? I'm not sure, I said, but I see something. It's running right next to me. Silence. Just a hiss of the line. Then the man spoke again, his tone hard, awake, sharp now. Son, listen to me carefully. You're seeing a tall, fast runner in the dark? Yeah. Then you've got yourself a pacer, he said. That's what we call them, pacers. And you're gonna do exactly what I tell you. You got that? 3 rules. Don't break them. Ever. What rules? I asked. Rule number 1, he rasped. Don't look at it directly. You can see it at the corner of your eye? Fine. Keep it that way. Don't turn your head. Don't track it. Don't stare. Understand? Yeah, yeah, I understand. Rule number 2, he said, don't acknowledge it. No flashing lights, no horn, no talking. For you, it doesn't exist. It's a shadow, a trick of your tired mind. You give it nothing. You got that? I got it, I whispered. And rule number 3, his voice dropped to a whisper. This one's the most important. No matter what happens, you never stop the truck. Not for a flat tire, not for flashing lights, not even if the engine catches fire. You just keep driving. Keep your eyes on the road and don't stop until sunrise. What is it? I asked. What does it want? The old man sighed. It follows, he said. Escorts, maybe. But you wouldn't like where it wants to take you. So just drive, watch the road, and pray you've got enough fuel to make it till dawn. Then the radio went silent. He was gone. And I was alone again, with that thing pacing beside me, and 3 rules I didn't dare break. I focused on the road. Don't look, don't acknowledge, don't stop. Simple. But that constant presence at the edge of my vision, that smooth running shape, was driving me insane. I glanced at the GPS, just for something normal to focus on. But the map was wrong. My truck icon wasn't on I-80 anymore. It was crawling along a thin gray line, a road that didn't exist, a road disappearing into a blank white space. Speed showed fine, direction too. Just no real road. Then I looked up and saw lights ahead. Dim, flickering, like a town. Impossible. I knew the stretch. Nothing here. No gas stations, no diners, no exits for 50 miles. But the lights were there. Warm, golden, inviting. Like safety. And then the pacer, still running beside me, raised one long, thin arm and pointed ahead, at an exit ramp that hadn't been there a moment ago. It led straight toward those glowing lights, toward that ghost town that shouldn't exist. An invitation, silent, but clear. Turn. Rule number 3 echoed in my head. Don't stop. But it hadn't said anything about turning. My hand slipped on the wheel from sweat. Something deep inside me pulled toward that ramp. It felt magnetic. But the old man's words came back. You don't want to know where it leads. I kept the wheel straight, eyes locked on the asphalt, ignored the exit, ignored the arm. As I passed, the air inside the cab went cold and heavy, pressing against my chest. The pacer stopped gliding smoothly. Its movements turned jerky, violent. It was furious. I had disobeyed. And then I saw more lights ahead, flashing this time. Relief surged through me. Police? Highway patrol? Finally. But no. It was just a single car on the shoulder. Hazards blinking. Driver's door wide open. And next to it, another pacer. It wasn't moving, just standing there, like a statue, facing me, waiting. Rule 1, don't look. Rule 3, don't stop. My foot trembled on the gas. Instinct screamed, slow down, go around. But that voice in my head whispered back, just keep driving. I aimed straight down the narrow space between the car and the white line, barely enough room to squeeze by. And when I drew level with it, I looked, just for a split second. It had no face, no eyes, no mouth, just smooth, gray skin, empty. My headlight swept over it, and that featureless head turned, following my cab as I passed, seeing me with a face that had no eyes. I shot past, mirror nearly clipping the open door. In the rear view, that figure stood motionless in the pulsing orange light. Then movement. It ran, fast, keeping pace with the first one. Now there were two. The next few hours were pure, crystal terror. Two shadows running alongside the truck, one on each side. The road itself seemed alive, the white lines bending like snakes. That ghost town flickered on the horizon, appearing, disappearing, calling. The GPS kept glitching, redrawing roads that didn't exist. I was alone, driving through a world that no longer obeyed the rules. All I had was that voice in my head and the faint gray glow of dawn ahead. I kept driving. Didn't look, didn't acknowledge, didn't stop. And when the first rays of sunlight broke through the dark, they were gone. Not fading, not vanishing into the distance, just gone. The world was normal again. Utah desert, straight highway, GPS back on I-80. I kept driving until I reached the city, delivered the load, quit the job. Now I'm in a cheap motel 1,000 miles from that road. But I know I'm not safe. Because that night, I broke the first rule. I looked. I let it know I saw it. And I can feel it, waiting for the next time I'm alone on a dark highway, when it'll run beside me again. Until I finally turn. I've been a property inspector for almost 15 years. You learn to ignore strange things when you spend your days walking through rotting houses and half-collapsed basements. Raccoons, mold that looks like faces, sometimes even squatters pretending to be ghosts. But there are some houses that feel wrong the moment you cross the threshold. 278 Greenbrier Lane was one of those. It wasn't on my usual list. My supervisor, Randy, said it was an old foreclosure finally cleared for inspection after years of legal limbo. Get in, take pictures, make sure the structure's safe, and leave the keys in the lockbox, he told me. The previous owner had disappeared in 2008, he said. No one ever found them. I remember pulling up that morning, overcast and windless. The air felt thick. The house was a 2-story colonial. Paint peeling, the windows so filthy they looked black. The grass hadn't been cut in years, but there was a clear, narrow path through the weeds, as if someone still walked it. I unlocked the door. The hinges screamed. Inside smelled of rot and wet plaster. Wallpaper peeled like shedding skin. And something about the layout felt subtly wrong, like the dimensions had shifted just enough to bother your subconscious. The floor plan said there should have been 12 windows on the first floor, but when I went through room to room, I counted 13. I thought I'd miscounted. I went through again. Kitchen, living room, dining room, den. Same result. 12 visible from the outside, 13 from within. The extra window was in the den. Tall, narrow, tucked between 2 bookshelves. I looked through it and saw nothing. Not the yard, not trees, not even darkness. Just a sort of deep gray that shimmered like fog lit from behind. My camera wouldn't focus on it. I took a photo anyway. The rest of the inspection was straightforward. The second floor was empty, except for an overturned chair and a stack of old mail. The basement door was locked, but the key ring had one old iron key that fit. The moment I opened it, that same thick stillness poured up the stairs, like the air below hadn't been disturbed in decades. My flashlight flickered. The steps were damp, the walls carved with what looked like finger marks, long, shallow grooves descending into concrete. At the bottom, there was a small utility room with a single light bulb, and beneath it, a mirror nailed to the wall. Except it wasn't really a mirror. It reflected the room, but not me. I stood right in front of it and saw the opposite wall, the shelves, the dangling bulb, but no figure holding the flashlight. I thought maybe the glass was double-sided or damaged, but when I moved the light, the reflection moved too, perfectly synced, just without me in it. That's when I heard the faint knock, 3 taps, slow, coming from upstairs. I called out, "Hello?" No answer. Another 3 taps, same rhythm. I turned off the light, thinking maybe it was a branch against the window, but the sound was too deliberate. When I went back up, the air in the den was colder. The extra window was open now, though I hadn't touched it. A faint gray draft poured through. My flashlight beam didn't pass through the opening. It just disappeared into that same depthless haze. And then something tapped back. 3 slow taps from the other side of the glass. I left. I didn't even lock the door behind me. I drove straight to the office, dropped the keys on Randy's desk, and said I was done for the day. He laughed. "You look like you've seen a ghost," he said. I told him I'd miscounted windows. He gave me a blank stare. Greenbrier doesn't have windows. It was sealed in '09. Boards, plywood, the works. He pulled up the listing photo on his computer. Sure enough, every window was covered. "You must have gone to the wrong house," he said. I know what I saw. That night, I couldn't sleep. My phone buzzed around 2 a.m., a notification from my cloud storage. New photo uploaded. I hadn't synced anything. When I opened the folder, it was the picture from the den. But now, the window wasn't empty. A faint outline stood on the other side. Long, humanoid, with too many joints. It looked almost human, except for its face, which was just a pale blur with a slit where the mouth should have been. The metadata said the file had been modified 30 minutes ago. I unplugged my phone and threw it across the room. The next morning, I went back to the house. I told myself I was just going to prove it was boarded up, that I'd made some stupid mistake. But when I got there, the boards were gone. Every window was exposed again. 13 of them. Inside, my footprints were still on the dusty floor. No sign anyone else had entered. The gray window was closed this time, but the glass was fogged from the inside, streaked with finger marks that dragged upward, like something had tried to climb out. I didn't go near it. Instead, I went straight for the basement. But the door was gone. Not locked, not stuck. Gone. Just a blank wall where it had been. That's when I noticed the hum. Low, throbbing, like a heartbeat beneath the floor. I pressed my ear to the wood and heard breathing. Long, drawn-out breaths, somewhere deep in the foundation. I backed away slowly and left again. This time, I took photos of the exterior, 12 windows visible from every angle. When I uploaded them that night, my software counted 13. A week later, Randy called. "You didn't finish the report. I'm sending Kevin to finish the inspection. He's heading there this afternoon." I told him not to. I begged him. He just laughed again. "You're getting jumpy in your old age." Kevin didn't show up to work the next day, or the day after. By Friday, his girlfriend had filed the missing person report. The police asked if anyone knew his last location. I didn't say a word. It's been 3 months. The company shut down Greenbrier after structural instability. The listing vanished from every database. But sometimes, when I drive past that part of town, I see the weeds flattened where the path used to be, like someone's still walking it. Last night, I got another notification. New photo uploaded. The same image again, but clearer this time. The figure was standing closer to the glass. I could see its face now. Pale skin stretched too tight, no eyes, and a mouth that ran from ear to ear, the teeth thin as needles. Its fingers were pressed flat against the window, long enough to touch both sides of the frame. Behind it, through the haze, I could just make out another shape, a reflection of me. I don't remember taking any photos last night, but when I checked my phone this morning, there were 12 more. Each one of me sleeping. Each one taken closer than the last. The 13th picture is of the gray window, and there's someone on my side of it now. I tried everything. I smashed my phone, I burned the SD card, I even drove an hour out of town and threw the pieces into the river. But that night, my laptop turned on by itself. The screen flickered to that same photo folder, empty, except for one file named Open Me. I couldn't help it. I clicked. It was a video, maybe 15 seconds long. It showed my office. The camera was on my desk facing the door. At first, nothing. Then the doorknob turned, slow and deliberate, and that same gray light bled in from the hallway. A figure stepped through, moving wrong, like its joints were bending the wrong direction. It stopped in front of the lens and tilted its head. For a split second before the screen went black, I saw its face again, impossibly stretched into a smile. Then, faintly, it whispered, "There are 13 windows everywhere, if you know how to look." I quit my job, moved to a new city, different state. I told myself it was over, but last week, I started noticing things again. My new apartment, 12 windows, but sometimes, at night, when the lights are off, I see a faint gray shimmer in the corner of my eye, like a 13th one, waiting to be noticed, and it wants to be noticed. I covered every mirror, every reflective surface, but reflections aren't confined to glass anymore. I see it in puddles, in dark screens, even in the gaps between blinds. Always standing still, always facing me. I don't sleep much. Every night I hear the tapping, 3 slow knocks somewhere in the walls. Last night was different. The tapping started again, but louder, desperate. I pressed my ear to the drywall, and for the first time, I heard a voice beneath the knocks. Hoarse, wet, whispering the same words over and over. "Let me out. Let me out. Let me out." I backed away, and something tapped back from the other side of my apartment window. 13 taps this time. The glass began to fog from the inside. I called Randy this morning. He answered on the first ring, sounding hollow. "You shouldn't have gone back," he said. "You let it count you." "What?" I asked. He laughed weakly. "There's always 13 now. It just needs to replace the missing one." Then the line went dead. It's 3 a.m. now. My apartment's silent. My reflection isn't matching me anymore. I move, it lags. When I blink, it doesn't. The light from the street lamp flickers through the curtains, and in the shimmer, I see it, standing in the reflection behind me. Taller than the ceiling, head bent sideways to fit. Its skin looks thin as paper, twitching with movement underneath, like something's inside it. I think it's the others, the missing ones. It's tapping again, not on glass this time, but on my shoulder. If you ever find a 13th window, when there's supposed to be 12, don't look through it, because it's not a window, it's a door, and something's looking back. I don't know when Facebook introduced the feature. friend suggestions, it used to be called. But now it's people you may know. A bunch of Facebook profiles suggested to you to add as friends. Usually people who have a mutual friends with you or someone you've searched for in the past. What creeps me out is how accurate it is. It's clearly taking data from somewhere because it suggested people to me that I've only ever interacted with in real life. The woman that cuts my hair or the guy who does my taxes at H&R Block. Sometimes though, it really is a random person that Facebook thinks I know for some reason. That's what happened on Thursday evening. A new friend suggestion. A.R. Winters. No mutual friends. No apparent connection to me. But this one caught my eye for a few reasons. First, the photo was of poor quality. It looked like a photo from the 90s, something that had been developed on real film and then scanned or photographed. Second, it had been taken from far away. The man, or possibly woman, was wearing dark clothing, standing against a tree so far away I couldn't make out their face. It didn't occur to me until just then, but generally, profile pictures aren't taken from that far away, unless they're traveling and showing off some landmark. But this person was just leaning against the dead tree. Out of curiosity, I clicked their profile. All their info was hidden though. No cover picture, no other profile pictures, no about me info. The next time I loaded Facebook, he wasn't a suggested friend anymore. It was just the usual never ending wheel of 30-something women that had a smattering of mutual friends with me. So I forgot about it for a few days. Until they popped up again. People you may know. A.R. Winters. The same photo of them leaning against a dead tree. Or was it? As I stared at the photo, I realized they were standing straight up, no longer leaning. I could have sworn. I shook my head. They were so far away. How could I tell whether they were leaning on the tree or just standing underneath it? Later that night, I checked Facebook again. People you may know. A.R. Winters. One mutual friend. I froze. A mutual friend? That mutual friend was some girl I went to high school with. I didn't know her well, we'd been close in the 8th grade, but then she started hanging out with the more popular girls and we lost touch. Still Facebook friends though, because I never went through my list of 2,000 plus people and pruned some off. It didn't say he had a mutual friend with her before, so they just became Facebook friends. Like today, this evening. Maybe there's someone from our school. Maybe they just joined Facebook for the first time now. Or maybe they lost their password to their old account and are creating a new one. A few more days passed and I didn't see A.R. Winters show up in my feed. But then, on Saturday night, there they were. People you may know, A.R. Winters, 3 mutual friends. Not 1, 3. And the photo was definitely different. It was still the dead tree, the overcast sky. Everything looked exactly the same, except the person. They weren't against the tree anymore. They'd taken a few steps closer to the photographer. They appeared to be a woman, tall and pale, dressed in a flowy black shirt and long black pants. Wavy, long dark hair parted neatly on the left side. Because of the film quality, I still couldn't make out her face. Who is she? I glanced at our mutual friends. One was a guy I had chemistry lab with in college, and the other, no. The other was our English teacher, Mrs. Flowers. She'd been the teacher mentor of our literature club, and she'd been dead for 5 years. I sat there, staring at the screen, all of it slowly sinking in. Her account can't even accept new friend requests, and why would this random person friend request her anyway? A horrible, creeping dread tugged at the back of my mind. I clicked on the two other mutual friends, Jessica Marie and Michael, scrolled down their timelines, and they'd also passed away. There hadn't been any official announcement for either, but their timelines were scattered with messages like, I miss you, and 2 years since you've been here. Quick Google searches showed that Jessica Marie died in 2020 from complications of COVID, and Michael had died in 2023 in a motorcycle accident.
I clicked back to my feed, to the friend suggestions, to AR's profile. I froze. She was standing closer, much closer. Her face was pale, almost pure white, like all the blood had been sucked out of it. Her eyes were dark, pupil and iris indistinguishable, and they seemed too big for her eyes. She had no eyebrows. Her long, dark hair twisted around her, as if there was a terrible wind. Blip. I jumped. There was a little red one over the bell icon. A.R. Winters sent you a friend request. My hands began to shake. I stared at the two buttons. Confirm, cancel. I clicked cancel, closed out of the window, slammed the laptop shut. I sat there in the dark, panting. Sweat covered my arms. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Calm down. It's obviously just some stupid prank. The photo's probably not even real. AI. I pushed out a breath and got up, put on my hoodie, left the apartment, and went for a walk. I shoved my hands in my pockets and walked along the walking trail at the local park. My breath came out in clouds of mist. I shivered. It was almost dusk, and the street lamps glowed across the road, orange, amber. Then I stopped. I'd never noticed it before. At the edge of the park, there was a big oak tree, barren of leaves now, but it looked just like the tree in A.R. Winter's photo. A million trees look like that. Stop it! As I stood there staring, something peeked out from behind it. A pale white face, dark flowy clothing, barely visible in the dying light. But I knew it was her. I knew. I ran back home, locked my apartment door, and opened the laptop. Went to Facebook. A.R. Winter sent you a friend request. The profile photo. Her face filled the entire photo, right up against the screen, like she was staring right at me. And maybe it's just the stress, but I feel sick, really sick. I've thrown up twice in the past half hour. My stomach hurts so much, more than I ever remember it hurting before. And I can't help but think, am I next? And that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching until the end. These were some of the creepiest stories from r/nosleep, and I really hope you enjoyed them. Personally, my favorite one was The One Who Runs Beside. There's just something about that story that really gets under your skin. It's not just scary, it's haunting in a calm, subtle way. If you liked today's video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which story was your favorite. Thanks again for watching. You're awesome. This is Archivist, and I'll see you in the next one. Sleep tight, or at least try to.